Hi everyone. It is way overdue on me giving an update on how things are going, I guess. There was something I was thinking about recently. Like when you're on a health journey, there's the obvious things that pop up that you start feeling better about, right? But then it's kind of like an onion where things, as you go on, you start noticing other things improving. Like, wait a minute, I used to have this big issue a lot, very often, and then now I don't. So I just wanted to give a little update on some other positive things I have noticed after changing up my diet and going a little bit more moderate carb. First of all, I'm not a high carb person. There have been people suggesting that I boost up my carbs, and I'm like, that's not going to be me. I know, because I know my activity level and I know where is the proper amount for me right now. So I have found my maintenance, and which is an incredible thing. I'm going to say, first of all, is I can't remember any time in my keto carnivore journey that I have eaten this much food and not gained weight. It's wild. So I'm at between 1900 to 2000 calories, eating steadily every day, not forcing it. It's just my normal appetite. Some days I feel like I could even eat more, but I've just been a little too nervous to go more because I've never eaten this much. And it's been incredible. Now, I say that I haven't gained weight. No, the scale has gone up 5 pounds total, 5 to 7 pounds since July of 2025. But my pants size has gone down a size. And we all know that some of the weight gain is water weight. We know it's stored from the carbohydrates. It's just, that's most likely what I believe it is. There's the normal hormonal fluctuations throughout the cycle. So while a part of me really does get nervous seeing the number go up, I have to continually reaffirm myself and say, everything's okay. Your clothes still fit well. You don't look bigger. At least I don't think I look bigger. Not that I'm inviting anybody's opinion. But I feel good. And then there's all these other wins, right? Like I've talked about it on my previous episodes. And so I'm just going to talk about some other ones I've noticed. The first one is my heart rate. So I have a smart ring that I wear. Now, in the past, when I was keto carnivore, my heart rate, my resting heart rate, was typically in the low 80s. I don't think I ever had a heart rate lower than 79, maybe, a resting heart rate, I should say. The other part that was crazy was the one that reminded me was going to church. So we go to a Catholic church. There's a lot of kneeling, standing, up and down kind of aerobics, I guess you could say. When I would be there and I would be kneeling at church, I could feel heart palpitations, and I would look at my heart rate, and it was typically between 110 to 130, just kneeling there. And I would have to step out sometimes and go sit down and take some breathers, and I didn't know what was causing it. It would freak me out, honestly. And what reminded me of that was at church last week, I was like, I'm really calm. What's my heart rate at? Like, just in the middle. And I looked, and it was 85 kneeling there. That is drastic change from 120s down to 85. Resting heart rate is continually in the 60s, sometimes in the lower 70s. This has been a game changer. Like, I was chasing these numbers like crazy on keto carnivore. I was trying all the things to get it lower. I was working out harder, people saying do more cardio. None of that helped until I lowered the fat and I brought in the carbs. Could I tell you exactly which mechanism, like why it's lower? Not necessarily. Is it just the carbs? No. I think it's what the carbs are doing in supporting my system and helping my thyroid. And I think also just my digestion. I was taking tons of supplements to support my digestion. I tried various types of digestive enzymes, and I would violently throw up with all of them. Severe stomach pain. I was taking slippery elm, aloe, DGL. I was taking all the gut lining support. I went through a protocol to support the gut, to kill any dysbiosis, nothing was helping me to eat the amount of calories I needed to get me out of a deficit. And I wasn't realizing it at that time that I was so low, but I couldn't do it no matter what. So eating the carbohydrates has allowed me to increase my calories to where it should be so that I'm no longer in a deficit, stressing my body out. So that's the one thing I noticed recently is my heart rate and my resting heart rate, and my HRV also is drastically improving. The next thing that I noticed is my hair. Do y'all see how long my hair is? I haven't had hair this long since I was in elementary school, and it's not just because I was cutting it. It grows very quickly now, and it's very thick, but also I was losing clumps of hair in the shower. Last week when I was in Florida and I was washing my hair and I looked, I was like, that's hardly any hair. Like, we always put our hair in the shower wall or whatever. And I looked, I was like, that was maybe like 10 strands of hair compared to the clumps I used to lose. And again, my thyroid is being supported now. Stress is being reduced in my body in many different ways. And so now my body feels safe enough to grow healthy nails. My nail polish is not that great today, but to grow healthy nails, to grow beautiful hair. And man, does that make me feel good. Now, before I name the other things that have improved, I know some of you might be thinking, Jen, all these things that were horrible that was happening, but you were promoting keto, you were promoting carnivore, and you claimed everything was good. So why are you sharing these things now? It's a fair question, and I've always promised to be open and honest, okay? So most of the things were improving, and I think when we're on a journey and we see the things that are working well, it is so easy to hyper focus on those and not look at the things that are not going well. And that's what was happening to me. I was excited that I was lowering my epilepsy medication. I was excited that I lost weight, that my cycles were getting normal, and then they weren't after a bit. But cramping was reduced. There's so many things that was improving, that these things I was like, you know what, I just need to carnivore harder, or maybe I just need to increase my fat, or maybe I just need to do these supplements. And I was experimenting, trying to figure out how to resolve it. I didn't realize that the state I was in, the way of eating I was in, was contributing to it. So I wanted to get that out of the way in case people, because I have heard some people saying, oh, these keto carnivore influencers are completely changing the game. They were promoting it and they were saying this is the best way ever, and now they're changing and they're completely different. And I just wanted to address that because I think that's a real struggle that a lot of people have. Is also the keto carnivore community is a really good community. Like, you really feel you have good support behind you, and when you're in there for so long, all of a sudden you're finding this other way is working for you, but that's not approved in that community. So it's kind of scary to jump out of that community when you're like, what support am I going to have? And that's actually one reason I created the Metabolic Shift community, is because of that exact situation where we have such a good support in carnivore and keto. And I think we need that in a different aspect where we're not being dogmatic. We still support you in your keto, carnivore, low-carb journey, but we understand there's nuance and space for maybe some more plant foods, maybe some more fruits, maybe go a little bit higher. And so I really wanted to make this community more health-focused versus my way of eating is my identity, if that makes sense. If you're not part of the community, it is free. There's a link down in the description. You can go and join. There are paid levels as well, but if you just want to be surrounded by other like-minded people and share your journey and hear other people's journey, go ahead and click there and join for free. And then if you want to join the coaching or the premium membership for Metabolic Masterclasses, go for it. Okay, now back to the other benefits that I have noticed. One of them I kind of touched upon briefly earlier is that my pant size is lower. I am now a size 8. I don't remember last time I've been a size 8. Keto carnivore, I have stayed between 12 and typically around 12. Some jeans I might fit into a 10, but now I'm down to an 8. Even though my weight has gone up 6 to 8 pounds, somewhere in there. I don't remember what I said. Yeah, somewhere in there. It fluctuates where I am in my cycle. So that's another big win. Another one, mental health wise, that I have heard other people struggle with. Okay, when I run on ketones, my brain quiets down. I feel less anxious, and I didn't want to go back because I knew that wasn't where I needed to be anymore. So I didn't want to go back to making my own ketones in my body because I know that was a stressor that I needed to back off of, at least for now. I don't know where I'll be in the future, but at least for now, okay? At first, I thought maybe it's a certain type of carbohydrate that's causing the anxiety. Maybe, I did the food journaling. I was tracking every day to make sure I was on track. And I noticed it happening on days I had bananas and I had potatoes. So I was like, okay, let me get rid of the bananas and potatoes. Let me stick to only fruits, no starches, see what happens. And I can't say if one of them did cause it or not. It was coming in and out here and there, the anxiety. But while I did the exogenous ketones, that anxiety did calm down and it was gone. So now I have reintroduced bananas, I have reintroduced potatoes, and I can handle them perfectly fine. My suspicion is it was part of the transition. My body has been running on fat and ketones for many years, and it still wasn't utilizing glucose properly, in a sense. So I had to kind of reawaken it, is my guess. My educated guess, I don't know. But all I know now is that I pushed through and I'm up to between 200, 250 grams of carbohydrates from whole food sources, and I'm feeling great. I don't get that anxiety. There's a rare occasion that it kind of happens, but I can always trace it back to a lifestyle factor, such as something in the house stressed me out and I'm running out the door and I'm late. And I just have to use those stress management techniques of deep breathing, etc. Okay, the last thing is the blood sugar spikes. So I was wearing a CGM when I started bringing in these many fruits and sourdough and juices and things like that. When I was wearing the CGM, my blood sugar was spiking up at times, up to 180, 160, and that kind of got me a little concerned. It would come back down, but then some of the times it went below baseline, and we don't like that reactive hypoglycemic to be happening because that also could have contributed to some of the anxiety I was getting. So I, again, kept on going. I kept trusting the process, and eventually now I'm wearing a CGM again, and those same foods that were causing spikes to 180 or 160 are now staying below 130. So more insulin sensitive, more metabolically flexible. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. My next thing is in a couple weeks, I will be getting a full comprehensive blood work. So I'm going to get everything done. My CMP, CBC, a full thyroid panel, insulin, A1C, all the metabolic markers, my cholesterol. I'm going to get my hormones checked because that's another thing that I feel improved is my luteal phase progesterone levels are incredible. My estrogen, I didn't realize how high my estrogen was. And my body was recirculating it because I wasn't taking a number 2 every day. I was pretty constipated, let's be honest. And I tried increasing the fat, all those kind of things. So bowel movements are also way more regular, which has then balanced out my estrogen to progesterone ratio. What was I going to say with that? Hormones. Oh my goodness, I got distracted. Oh, blood work. So yeah, I'm going to get like DHEA, progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, all those things checked. I'm not claiming that everything's going to be perfect. I don't know. We'll see where things are at. I also just submitted my gut test because I did a whole gut protocol for 4 months. So I want to see where things are going. So I'll have some videos coming up when those results come in, going over those results, as well as going over the gut test results, the before and after, because I never showed the before. I wanted to save it for a before and after. So I'll be sharing those coming up. But yeah, I just wanted to share a little update and say that things are going well, and I feel a lot more food freedom to be able to enjoy the squashes during the winter, to enjoy the watermelon during the summer, and not be paranoid about every food that goes in my mouth, but yet still have discerning wisdom, right? I'm not just binging on donuts and cake and pizza, right? It's still healthy discernment. It's still eating the foods that nourish me, so that I can be the best that I can be. All right. Have a good day, guys.